is saying, what we need is we need to know who the organizations, individuals are from Serbia, from Bosnia, from Croatia, from all the different areas, and we need the Dutch peacemakers who left Srebrenica before the massacre, and we need the Belgians, and we need all these people there, because we need those differences for us to realize what this one is, and that's that sense of oneness that comes out of the retreat, and it's a function of all the different voices that come. We'll talk about that more later.
Hello, Ebony. Adina is my name. I have a question related to what you just said.
A little louder, please.
Yes, so about the one, so there is the one which is beautiful, but there is the one also which committed atrocities, crimes. So how your spiritual path changed? So what or how is your relationship to this? Because of course I'd like to think that I'm one with something which is beautiful, which is love, but how I can be one with this side, and how I can continue to feel the oneness in this.
Okay. Tell me, do you feel that you are, what's your name?
Adina. Adina.
Adina. Do you feel you are at one with Adina?
I don't know. Let's say that I
do you think that Adina is different pieces? Like, do you think that your hands are not part of you? They're not connected to you?
No, I'm feeling that I can be different at different moments, so I'm evolving or changing.
Do you still think that Adina is Adina? Or do you think sometimes Adina is Bernie and sometimes it's...
no, for sure.
Adina is Adina,
yeah.
Right? Now, Adina, do you know that inside of you, you have cancer cells?
Yeah, I have some
we all do.
cells which
and do you know that we have white cells that attack those cancer cells to keep, and that if they don't do that, then the cancer cells can grow and we get
it still remains one.
Huh?
It still remains one.
Now, because you have those evil white cells that are attacking those harmless cancer cells, or because you have those cancer cells that are evil and attracting those white cells, does that mean that you are not one? Does that mean that you don't try to take care in the best way possible? Adina?
I agree, it doesn't change the oneness, but the relationship.
So now if the world is one and it has different things, isn't it a nice thing to try to take care of that whole thing and to minimize the problems? To find out, what is it? How do I take care of Adina so those cancer cells don't get out of check? How do I take care of Adina when she's bleeding, cuts her foot, or when she's hungry, or in all these different things? Isn't it nice to try to take care of that one Adina? Just expand it to the world. What's the best way to take care? Oh, yeah, it's full of terrible things, man. What does that mean? It means that it's full of things I don't like, I don't appreciate. How do I take care of that? What do I do with that? Yeah, that's the practice.
Thank you.
I think you have to be the last one because we're going to run out of time.
Okay, I'll make it an easy one. What's around your neck?
A bib!
Okay, what's the purpose for it?
To keep the food from not dirtying my clothes. we just had a discussion about this on the plane. The Japanese word is raksu. it's a symbol of the robe of Shakyamuni Buddha, and within the Zen tradition, at least, but in many of the different sects of Buddhism, a robe was passed down when they installed the teacher. They gave them a robe. This is such a robe for secular people. There's other kinds for ordained for priests, and this is secular. But it also turns out to be, this is very important, especially in this place, this is a breastplate that the priests in the temple in Israel wore. So they are now manufacturing these again because they're hoping to have another temple, and the priests will have to wear these things.
You have to understand Bernie's feelings towards Israel to appreciate the cynicism in that remark. But basically, we were talking today in the plane about the fact that people don't like the word robe, especially in Europe, where some countries in Europe are very anti-Catholic, you know, because they have that karma, that history of the Catholic Church being a dominant force in their country. So when they hear that these things are called robes, they get angry because that reminds them of the priests that they associate with their childhood, and they would like us to think of a new name for this because robe is offensive to them because it reminds them of the Catholic Church. So we were talking today about what other name could we come up with so as not to offend people who are very upset about their childhood as they grew up. And one word that came up was bib, you know, because it looks like it. But I still like the word robe.
Yeah, but the simple answer to your question is that it's a symbol of the Buddhist robe.
Thank you.
Okay, so tomorrow night we continue with this episode. I guess we start off with the second 20 years, although we've been going in and out of things. But hopefully we'll cover my 60 years of life by the end of these 2 days. It leaves me with what to do. Yeah.
And maybe you'll help us work out what does it mean to take the practice to the streets. Because we're not clear about that. So it'll be a really interesting to have an open inquiry into what is that.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank very much Roshi Bernie Glasman and Roshi Yves Mionen Marco. Let's give them a big hand. And they will continue this program tomorrow night in the evening satsang. Before we announce the rest of the schedule for tomorrow, we have a few announcements. First of all, we would like to bid farewell to Karnamrita Dasi, who is leaving the ashram tomorrow, and to thank her for the beautiful